Hello and a warm welcome to South Central with me, Jude Sanath. You probably know it by now, but this is the one show where I break down everything hot and happening across South India. From key news developments, discussion points, market action and industry trends, this is where you find them all. On that note, let's take a look at everything making headlines this Friday. Andhra Pradesh Cabinet gives the green signal for 15,000 crore rupees worth of investment proposals, including those secured at the state's Investor Summit last month. Hanasa consumer makes a splash in the men's grooming space. The owners of Mama Earth will acquire a 95% stake in Hyderabad-based BTM Ventures, which owns skincare brand Reginald Men. Italian luxury fashion house Prada signs an MOU with two leather corporations to produce 2,000 Kolhapuri sandals. Each pair could be priced as high as 84,000 rupees. Knight Frank India's retail report points to 1/5 of the country's shopping centres turning into ghost towns. But the property consultancy tells ET Now that Tier 2 cities like Kochi and Coimbatore show the greatest potential for growth. That's a South Central special discussion coming up next. Congress MLA Raju Kage stirs up controversy. The lawmaker makes a pitch for a separate state of North Karnataka. Kage says he will fight for statehood until his last breath. And football superstar Lionel Messi lands in Hyderabad tomorrow. The Argentine soccer legend will showcase his skills at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium at an exhibition event. Right, first in the bulletin today, while we find ourselves well and truly at the very heart of the festive season, it's a good time to take a look at the state of South India's retail health. In that breath, a recent report by property consultant Knight Frank has revealed that nearly 1 out of every 5 shopping centres in India has turned into ghost malls or simply fallen out of relevance. For context, the report goes on to define the status as one being given to shopping malls that have extremely high vacancy levels out of a sample of 365 malls across 32 cities that the property consultant surveyed. Now, the good news is this: South Indian malls, at least that's what the report says, have largely remained active commercial hubs. In fact, markets like Mysuru, Thiruvananthapuram, Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam have such less vacancy that all malls here have largely retained quality. This is in stark contrast to markets like Nagpur, Jalandhar and Amritsar, which Knight Frank's report says have the largest number of these ghost malls. Now, the report says that a section of malls that have fallen into disuse have potential to unlock over 350 crore rupees of rentals. The survey covered 134 million square feet of overall retail stock, with 15.5 million square feet being classified as dormant. However, whether or not malls turn dormant isn't just a factor of occupancy. Aside from vacancy rates, weak tenant curation, aging infra, and declining relevance were also considered as factors. To break down some of these findings and dive deeper into what the study revealed about South Indian retail, I'm now joined by Ankita Sood, National Director of Research at Knight Frank India. Ankita, firstly, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast. My first question to you: across these trends we've been picking up from the report, you're seeing a case of Tier 1 cities doing quite well, but Tier 2 cities falling off the performance charts insofar as retail health at these shopping centres go. A case in point, of course, is in South India is Kozhikode, which is seeing vacancy levels higher than the rest. Is this a case of Tier 1 cities doing simply better than Tier 2 towns?
The Tier 2 cities are underperforming not because there is no demand. The demand is intact. The underperformance, or if we are categorizing underperformance as vacancy, we're taking that indicator. It is purely because of the restricted supply of quality assets, the grade A supply that is missing in the Tier 2 cities. Now, we know that most of the grade A stock is concentrated in the Tier 1 cities. The demand is there. But Tier 2 cities over the past few years have shown remarkable consumption trends. across the consumption basket, right? So it is not a factor of demand, it's a factor of constricted supply. And most of the current assets in the tier 2 cities being in the grade B or the C category, which, the brands, when they want to enter a particular city, they do not prefer.
Now, if you were to take a look at the performance of key South Indian markets in terms of how well they've performed, which tier 2 cities or markets in South India have visibly disappointed in terms of availability of good supply, and which ones show the most potential for improvement?
So supply, if I take away the tier 2 cities, tier 1 cities, most of the tier 2 cities have, one or two malls, and only one or two are the ones which are falling in the grade A category. The rest are, is in the B and C. So let's say if Mysuru probably, just has one mall, which will be having sub 5% vacancy, because that's the only asset where all the brands want to be there. Rest, it's not that Mesuru will not have a retail footprint, but they're not doing great because of their quality and their specifications not being in the right category. South, if I also talk about Kochi is doing great in terms of, the quality of assets that it has to offer. However, what we've seen, Jude, that South India, only one or two malls, or I'd say one mall in the tier 2 cities is the one which takes away the all the brands coming together, and the rest of the malls are B and C. Probably they are, they are aging, or the location is not right, or some of the other structural gaps are there, which due to which, this constricted supply is more pinched, and hence the theme of reinvigoration for investors, that there is a lot of demand in tier 2 cities in southern India. And why only a Bengaluru, a Chennai, or a Kochi should take the lion's share? This needs to be penetrated deep in the tier 2 cities, and reinvigoration is the theme.
Okay, so let's take a look at one by one. Mysuru and Kozhikode are two cases in point that the report makes ample mention of, with Kozhikode seeing some extremely high vacancy levels. Now, as far as your analysis is concerned, is this a case of potential existing for developers to build grade A retail spaces in these towns? Forget the supply. Do you think potential for interest in the first place exists within towns like this?
We are seeing developers actually, and grade A listed developers moving out of their geographies and looking at, expanding to the tier 2 cities. Without taking names, we have key developers moving out from the NCR geography and, let's say, going to Goa, coming up with one of the largest malls in Goa. So, yes, tier 2 cities, the developers are eyeing because of the intrinsic demand that these tier 2 cities have. They are not in the shadows of the tier 1 cities anymore. They have their own employment opportunities. Economic anchors are intact. So, developers, as we speak, there are some expansions being planned into the tier 2 cities. This is developers, even investors. We see that investors are picking up depressed assets in the tier 2 cities and turning them around into high yielding assets for REITs.
Right, let's now move on to my favorite question when it comes to any of these discussions. What's the outlook like on future inventory in these markets, Ankita? Some of them may be underperforming today, but what's the growth potential for inventory here, and how much of it will take form and shape as far as these markets are concerned in the medium term?
Jude, I would not want to be speculative here, but all my bets are on Vizag. That is something with the right infrastructure in place, the buzz in place, and the city is growing at a stellar pace. So Vizag, Coimbatore are some cities in terms of retail offtake, to watch out for. Would not attribute a percentage growth number here, but yes, they are seeing a spurt in, retail demand, residential demand, and residential demand trickles into retail. It's an ecosystem. So these two would be my bets.
And what's the product mix going to be like in these towns? I noticed that the report had a few numbers which said that while Chennai and Hyderabad, for instance, saw shopping centers being the preferred format for retail activity, Bengaluru has a solid high street culture. So where do you see trends going towards in terms of the preferred product mix as far as future developments go?
Developers are trying different formats. We have a mix of a high street. So high streets intrinsically are organic stretches, where shopping happens. Some developers, because of the large horizon boulevards and gazebos to sit on, open spaces, they are adopting that kind of format as well. But it'll be a mix of let's say high street and malls, more towards to do with an FSC kind of a concept. That's what it won't be standalone malls when the inventory comes about. Developers are focusing more on experiential mall and experiential retail where you're just not going to shop. You would probably want to stay there for a longer time. And that will not happen if your stickiness is only towards agenda shopping. You would want to spend some time. So inclusion of F&B, all of these factors. So that all getting knitted together into a well-defined design facade and open spaces, all of that will attract the consumers to spend more time. So more footfall equals more, likelihood of conversion. So it will be a mixture of high streets and malls in the format that is more open and on the FEC side of it, so that more time spent in that particular retail converts to conversions eventually.
Right, last question then before I let you go. What are the three big trends to look out for as far as India's retail space is concerned? Pan-India, both North and South.
Experiential retail, that is retail that has to do more with you staying in the mall for a longer time rather than just going with agenda shopping. So developers are more and more focusing on experiential retail. And the second one would be phygital. Phygital is that something, e-commerce and brick and mortar. They have to be synonymous. They cannot, be in silos. One cannot be doing away with the other. We thought that it will be the death of brick and mortar, but that didn't happen. We can't survive without it. Similarly, e-commerce is the need of the hour. So they have to be in synergy, and they are being in synergy. So experiential retail, digital is the way to go. And the third, I would say, is the tier 2 city story, tier 2 and 3 city story. Across the consumption basket, tier 2 and 3 cities are doing great. We have, like we already spoke about, the south, north, Jaipur, Chandigarh, Bhopal, Lucknow, these cities are doing great. So developers and investors alike are also scouting for assets in these particular cities, so that the demand can be well captured. So they are no more in the shadows of the tier 1 cities anymore, and they have their own demand anchors, due to which we see a lot of buzz in the tier 2 cities going forward will also happen.
Well, on that note, Ankita Sood, thanks so much for joining us and breaking down some of those insights. Great to have you with us, as always. Moving on to Andhra Pradesh now, the state's cabinet has given the green signal for 15,000 crore rupees worth of proposed investments in the state across sectors like energy, chemicals, pharma and MSMEs. The cabinet also gave the go-ahead for 9,500 crore rupees worth of water infra projects across multiple municipalities, as well as 5,000 crore rupees worth of rooftop solar subsidies and road expansion projects as well. A state government press release also said that Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu laid the foundation stone for Cognizant's latest campus in the city of Vizag. The Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister has been on an inauguration spree of sorts, laying the foundation for 8 other IT campuses in the city. The government has said that IT investments in AP alone have totaled to around 3,700 crore rupees, with potential for over 41,000 jobs. On to news from the corporate space now. Honasa Consumer Limited has made a foray into the men's grooming space with its acquisition of Hyderabad-based BTM Ventures. The owners of Mama Earth have acquired 95% stake in BTM, which owns the men's skincare brand Reginald Men. Honasa has said it will complete the acquisition by buying out the remainder 5% of BTM Ventures over the next 12 months. My colleague Snehi joins us now with the details.
Well, yes, so Honasa Consumer has forayed into the men's personal care space with the acquisition of BTM Ventures, which is the parent of Reginald Men. This provides category, channel and geographical expansion opportunities for Honasa. And also remember that the Indian's men's personal care market is projected to reach 40,000 crore rupee plus by 2032. So it's a good space to foray into right now for Honasa Consumer. This is also going to help Honasa strengthen market share in the south, because remember, majority of the revenues that Reginald Men derives is from the south, so that is important to watch out for. A little bit about Reginald Men. It was founded in August 2022 by Trisha Reddy Zalsani, and they make products like sunscreen, serum, hair serum, moisturizer, face cleansers and face washes for men. And if you take a look at the revenue trend of the parent company, 2023 to 24, very modest revenue of just 43,000 rupees, which saw a sharp uptick of 20.15 crores in the year following that. And from October 24 to October 25 this year, they've netted a revenue of 74 crores with an EBITDA of 18 crores and EBITDA margin around 24%, indicating good health of the acquired company. The terms of the transaction, Honasa will now acquire a 95% stake at an enterprise value of 195%, with the remaining 5% to be acquired in the next 12 months at a pre-agreed valuation. If you take a look at the valuation of this deal right now, on an annualized April to August revenue run rate, this values the deal at an implied EV to revenue 2.6 times and implied EV to EBITDA at 10.9 times. It looks like a positive deal for Honasa Consumer as well. This also adds to Honasa's deals of D2C acquisitions in the recent past. Remember, they acquired B Blunt from Godrej Consumer in 2022, acquired a majority stake in Dr. Sheth's in 2022 as well, and they've also acquired 25% stake in Fang Oral Care very recently, and now they've forayed into the men's personal care space with this acquisition. So Honasa Consumer is going to be a stock to watch out for today.
From skincare to fashion now, Italian luxury fashion giant Prada has inked an MOU with Mumbai's Lidcom and Karnataka's Lidkar, formerly known as the Dr. Babu Jagjeevan Ram Leather Industries Development Corporation Limited. The global fashion giant will partner with both leather corporations to produce nearly 2,000 Kolhapuri sandals in India, which will then reportedly hit 40 Prada stores in February, aside from being available on the fashion label's e-commerce site. Now, here's the kicker. If reports are to be believed, each of these Kolhapuri pairs is expected to be priced at around 800 euros, which would roughly translate to over 84,000 rupees for a pair. Prada was in the news recently for featuring models sporting Kolhapuris on some of its promotional material. Criticism was then leveled at the label for appropriating the sandals and not acknowledging its history of craftsmanship. These MOUs, which will no doubt require a great deal of input and handiwork by Indian artisans, is a course correction of sorts by Prada. So, made in India Kolhapuris then, sold by Prada, costs 84,000 rupees a pair. We let you decide what to make of that. Meanwhile, dramatic yet heartwarming visuals from Kerala's Varkala beach, where dozens of tourists and locals joined hands yesterday to rescue a whale shark that was stranded on the seashore. The shark, reportedly stuck in a fishing net before being washed ashore, struggled to find its way back to the ocean despite the best efforts of the group. It finally took a bunch of fishing vessels to complete the rescue, which had the shark swimming away, presumably safe and sound. Well, that's humanity of the interspecies kind then. Moving to Hyderabad now, Argentine football legend and FIFA World Cup winner Lionel Messi is all set to make a touchdown in Hyderabad. The footballer will tee off at the Rajiv Gandhi International Cricket Stadium as part of his GOAT India tour. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy is expected to be in attendance, as will a bunch of film stars and the who's who of entertainment, sports and government. Incidentally, Chief Minister Reddy has been working on his soccer skills of late, even featuring in a practice match yesterday. So fair to say that Hyderabad is seeming up to the football task when Leo Messi makes touchdown tomorrow. Well, from the football superstar to the OG one now. Superstar Rajnikant turns 75 today. The milestone birthday is of particular significance given that one of Indian cinema's greatest continues to stay evergreen today, delivering one hit after another, as Rajni continues to hold on to his aura, style and charisma with consummate ease. From the early hours of today, fans gathered outside his home in Chennai, many performing Palabhishekams on his posters and setting off fireworks in birthday celebration. Social media too was full of tribute, with actors, politicians, entertainers and sportspersons sharing warm wishes on Rajini's birthday. After all, at 75, the superstar continues to hold his own, delivering punch dialogues, acing iconic roles and continuing to win hearts far and wide, from Tamil Nadu, across India and beyond. Well, happy birthday, Talaivar, and here's wishing you all a very happy weekend as we wrap up yet another episode of South Central. Thanks so much for watching. Do stay tuned to ET Now for more news and updates from the markets and beyond. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.